Hello everybody, welcome or welcome back to my humble abode. My name is Taddy, and in today's video we are going to be discussing dating, Christian dating. Earlier this week I went out on a study date with one of my friends and we were discussing the topic, and we said how it's almost sort of like a taboo to bring up, or it's a conversation that hasn't been spoken much about. And you know what? It's hard. It's especially difficult trying to navigate it in our 20s. We need someone to tell us something. We need some sort of a rule book, a step-by-step process, a blueprint, something. So this was just a little conversation that we had, and we kind of left it at that. Then it stayed stuck in my head. Like, I couldn't let the thought go. I just kept thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I need to do my due diligence and do some research on this topic. So I started scouring the internet, reading blog after blog, watching video after video. I sort of summarized it and came up with the qualities that you should be looking for in a boyfriend or a husband. Before we get into the qualities, I have to be very blunt about something that is probably the first and most important rule of all of this, and that is that you date Christian people. Now, I have to admit, there is no rule against dating outside of your religion. There is no rule against dating people that aren't even religious. Granted, I have dated someone that was not necessarily religious, and I've dated someone who was literally Muslim, like inshallah, mashallah, alhamdulillah, hijabi wearing Muslim person. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. I'm kidding. The reason why I say this, or the reason why I say that it is important that we as Christian women go and date Christian men, is because your walk with Christ is such a big part of your life, especially if you're actively working on growing in your relationship with Christ. So that would mean that you are constantly reading the Bible, you're constantly listening to gospel music, you're constantly doing your devotionals, watching your sermons. It's such a big part of your life, and it's something that you put so much effort into, that to completely omit that in a relationship with someone that you're supposed to be spending the rest of your life with it's not really gonna work. I understand there are exceptions, and also there are times where, you know,
someone meets someone that's not Christian, and then there's some sort of evangelizing that happens in the mix, and then that other person ends up becoming Christian.
Besides the fact that it is such a big part of your life, it is also important that the person that you're with aids you in your walk with Christ, because you know it's hard. There are days where it's a little bit more difficult, where it's not as easy to open up the Bible, it's not as easy to pray. But having someone who is Christian as well, they will be able to pick you up and push you in your walk with Christ. And this is very, very necessary if you're going to be spending the rest of your life with someone. Aside from that, something that is also very important is boundaries. When someone is Christian and you hold certain boundaries, especially like physical boundaries, it is much easier for somebody to respect your boundaries if that person is also Christian, because they understand why you have those boundaries and they probably uphold the same boundaries. So now let's get into the qualities. Let's get into the tea of it all. Speaking of tea, the tea of the day today is chamomile tea with honey and lemon. So as I was doing my research, what I found most relevant to this topic was a video by Casey Nicole, which I will link up in the cards or in the description down below. And while you're in the description, please do me a favor and give this video a like. It really helps me out a lot. Thank you. In Casey Nicole's video, she spoke of 1 Timothy verse 3. Now, if you've never come across 1 Timothy verse 3, I hadn't. It is a scripture in the Bible that is, you know, it's low-key like Proverbs 31, but it's like the version for men. So if you've been watching my channel for a while now, then you know I have made videos and referenced the Proverbs 31 woman quite a while. If you haven't watched the video, I will link it up in the cards or in the description down below. Please make sure to watch that video. So this particular scripture comes from the first letter that Apostle Paul wrote to Timothy. And the part that we're going to be reading is the part where Apostle Paul calls Timothy to appoint new leaders, deacons, or elders in the church. And as you guys know, the church is God's bride. And therefore, it makes sense that the qualities or the characteristics that God would want the elders of the church to uphold as they lead the church are the same, parallel or literally the same characters that he would want a man to uphold as he leads his own wife and household. With that figured out, let's get straight into the scripture. 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 all the way to verse 13. It reads, "Here is a trustworthy saying, whoever aspires to be an overseer desires a noble task. Now the overseer is to be above reproach, faithful to his wife, temperate, self-controlled, respectable, hospitable, able to teach, not given to drunkenness, not violent but gentle, not quarrelsome, not a lover of money. He must manage his own family well and see that his children obey him, and he must do so in a manner worthy of full respect. If anyone does not know how to manage his own family, how can he take care of God's church? He must not be a recent convert, or he may become conceited and fall under the same judgment as the devil. He must also have a good reputation with outsiders, so that he may not fall into disgrace and into the devil's trap. In the same way, deacons are to be worthy of respect, sincere, not indulging in much wine, and not pursuing dishonest gain. They must keep hold of the deep truths of the faith with a clear conscience. They must first be tested, and then if there is nothing against them, let them serve as deacons. In the same way, the women are to be worthy of respect, not malicious talkers, but temperate and trustworthy in everything. A deacon must be faithful to his wife and must manage his children and his household well. Those who have served well gain an excellent standing and great assurance in the faith in Jesus Christ." So, now that we've gotten into the scripture, there were a lot of characteristics that were broken down in that scripture, a lot to dive into, a lot to unpack, but I have all of the main qualities sort of summarized or broken down to you guys, and they will fall under these 6 categories. 1. Commitment. 2. Humility. 3. Reputation. 4. Initiative. 5. Self-control/discipline, and 6. Submitting to God's control. So let's break that down. Commitment. They must have something that they are committed to, something that they are working towards. Because if they cannot be committed to something, whether that is career-wise or whatever, then how can they be committed to you? And aside from that, a person's commitments show what they prioritize. Number 2, humility. So they must be humble. Pride is a sin. And as Casey Nicole said, do not mistake conceit for confidence. There's a very big difference between conceitedness and confidence. Number 3, reputation. Now this is a conversation we had with my dad earlier this week. He shared with us James 2 verse 52, which says that Jesus grew in wisdom, in stature, and in favor with man and with God. And so as Christians, we strive to be like Jesus. And so we must pray to grow in the same way that Jesus grew. And if Jesus grew in stature, so should we. Right? And it's something that I'd never prayed for before, and not something that I understood or realized was important. But stature is important. Reputation is important. And therefore, when you are looking for your partner, or whenever you are deciding that someone is the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, you must make sure that they have a reputable reputation, right? That they are reputable. That's a bit redundant. People need to respect this person. People need to vouch for this person's character, because you are going to be a wife one day, and you are going to have to submit to this person. Not only you, your children as well are going to have to submit to this person and respect this person. So if they're not reputable, then what are we doing here? Number 4, initiative. Okay, when I say initiative, I'm speaking mostly on leadership. Is this person able to take the lead? And before you can take the lead, you need to plan. So are they able to plan ahead? Are they able to communicate well? Because good leaders are not confusing. They anticipate confusion and they eliminate it immediately. So is he hot and cold? Is he giving you mixed signals? Does it feel like he's leading you on? And sis, that is not a good leader for you or your home. Like, guys, I feel like when I think about these things and I think about my children, that's when I wake up. Like, everything feels a little bit confusing until I imagine my children being led by this person, and it's like, no thank you. And that is something that you have to take into consideration. I know we're only in our early 20s, everything is fun and games, but as a Christian woman, if you're dating, you should be dating to marry. Number 5, self-control. Now, self-control is, of course, discipline, and the way that it is spoken about in the scripture was specifically on the topic of drunkenness, violence, love for money, and sexual immorality, of which all of those things, the only way that he will not be participating in them is if he is disciplined in himself and his character, and he's able to control himself and control his urges, knowing that he wants to live in a godly manner, in a way that pleases God. And number 6, submitting to God's control, which also low-key speaks on the previous topic, but they need to submit to God's control. They need to have Jesus as their savior. They need to have Jesus as their Messiah. They need to turn to God. They need to have their own relationship with God, because as stated in Ephesians 5 verse 26, which is a verse that I particularly love, so that he may sanctify her, having cleansed her by the washing of water with the word. So he must be able to wash her with the word. And if he doesn't have a relationship, if he doesn't have his own relationship with God, if he's not spending his own time reading the Bible and getting to know God, then how is he going to wash you with the word? That this is the person that is supposed to help you disciple your children, so they must have their own relationship with God. So those are all the 6 qualities that you should be looking for if you are looking into dating as a Christian woman. And these are the qualities that you should be working on honing in and cultivating yourself if you are a Christian man. And if you're wondering, okay, what qualities should my woman have, then go ahead and check my Proverbs 31 video, which will be linked again up in the cards or in the description below. Now, I would like to know your perspective on this topic. What do you guys think? How do you guys feel? Should we make another video discussing red flags that we should not be ignoring as Christian women in the world of dating? Please do let me know down in the comment section below. If there's anything else, any sort of video that you would like me to make, please also let me know in the comment section down below. If you like this video, may you please give it a thumbs up. It really helps me out a lot. Thank you. And if you would like to see more of my videos, if you want to know what else I have in store, then please make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the post notification bell so that you are notified every time I drop a video. So thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. God bless you. Goodbye.